My mom works at a maximum security prison. She has been working there for over 20 years. She is tough as nails and does not scare easily. So one night during her shift, she found an inmate attempting to take his life with a rope. He had already gone blue when she cut him down, but she started CPR right there on the floor. Somehow, she got his heart beating again, but he never woke up. Well, not really anyway. It turned out he was brain dead, and he died a few days later in the hospital. The whole thing hit her hard. She had nightmares. She cried a lot, PTSD. She never wanted to talk about it. Again, and we did not push it. But then strange things started happening at home. At first it was little things. Paper would fly out of printers unprompted. Not just once, dozens of times. Objects would fall off shelves, even heavy stuff that should not just tip over. The TV would randomly switch on and off, sometimes even switch inputs or mute itself. All of it chalked up to glitches or maybe faulty wiring. It was annoying, certainly, but manageable. And then it escalated. One night, my mom woke up in bed screaming in pain. Her arm, the one she had had surgery on years ago, was pinned, and it hurt like hell. She looked over and saw her husband, my stepdad, lying on her arm. She nudged him. "Hey, wake up! You are on my arm." Nothing. He shifted slightly, still half on. Her and she got angry. "Get off my arm!" She tried pushing him, but he was a dead weight. Then she said, still half asleep but in agony, "Get off. You are hurting me." That is when he opened his eyes. Except it was not my stepdad anymore. The man lying next to her had a red face like a tomato. His eyes were pitch black with no whites and no pupils. His mouth was stretched in a grotesque, toothy grin that ran all the way to his ears. He stared right at her and said, "Good." My mom screamed bloody murder. She cried, begging him to stop. Eventually, somehow, she yanked her arm, free, and bolted downstairs. She grabbed the kids, my younger siblings, and dragged them into the living room. She was ready to call 911. That is when my stepdad actually came. Downstairs, groggy and confused, just his normal self. My mom completely lost it. She screamed at him to get away from the house and the kids. Eventually, she recognized it was really him. The moment passed, but something inside her broke that night. And that is when she knew it was not just stress or nightmares anymore. There was something malevolent inside our house, and she decided we needed help. She called my step-grandfather, whose wife had a brother that used to be a priest, retired, now living in Mexico. Long shot, but worth a try. He flew up to the States after hearing what happened, and after listening to everything, he admitted that while he had heard of hauntings and demonic attachment, he had never seen a case like ours. He gave us the contact of someone he described as exceptionally sensitive, a female pastor who travels and deals with these kind of things. He was adamant about one thing. "Do not tell her what happened. Just invite her to the house. She will know." So my mom called her and kept things vague. As they were saying goodbye, the pastor suddenly shouted through the phone, "Stop. Someone is trying to talk to you. She is extremely angry. She wants me to tell you you moved it and she wants you to put it back now." And then she hung up. Here is the thing. My family had been doing a garage sale that week. A lot of old stuff had gotten moved into the basement to make room. One of those items, a collection of antique dolls that belonged to my great-grandmother. She was obsessed with them and made it clear before she died my mom had to keep them. My mom knew immediately what the pastor meant and ran to the basement and moved the dolls back to their original position, but the pastor never made it to the house. First, she lost our address and contact info, just gone from her phone. And we called her again, gave her the info, and she said she would still come. Then her car would not start. Then she called a tow truck. It got into a wreck on the way to her place. Coincidence perhaps, but weird as hell. She never made it out. So we turned to another option, a local paranormal investigation team. They came to the house and stayed overnight. Split up, the teams set up cameras, EVP recorders, thermal imaging, the works, and yeah, they got a lot of stuff. They caught footage of a face distorted, an inhuman floating. In the corner of our guest room, they saw orbs, cold spots, and most disturbing of all, they recorded voices and clearly identified 4 entities. A little girl, an older teenage girl, a woman who called herself Lorelei, and a man called Frank. My mom froze. The name Frank. It was the same man she tried to save at the prison, the one who ended up brain dead. When they dug deeper, the voice claiming to be Frank said he liked my mother and that he hated her husband. That was the end of the investigation, but the team got a ton of material from our house, enough to gain some minor fame online in paranormal circles. I came home from the Navy shortly after. Things were quiet for the most part, except one night when I was sitting in the living room, reading, and suddenly I got this heavy, suffocating feeling like I was being watched. I even went outside with a flashlight combing through bushes, because I was that convinced someone was out there. But there was not. A few months later, my uncle's childhood best friend visited for a barbecue. He brought a new girlfriend we had never met. As soon as she stepped into our house, she stopped cold. She looked at my mom and asked, "How many do you have?" Mom thought she meant kids. 5, she said. 4 biological, 1 stepdaughter. No, that is not what I meant. Well, 4 spirits, a little girl, a teenager, a woman, and a man. The woman shook her head. No, there are at least 2 men, and I have 2 brutes screaming in my face right now telling me to get out. That started a long and bizarre conversation. I will admit I called BS on most of it, but she claimed she had always had this ability to see. Spirits feel their emotions. She said she once lifted a teacher into the air during a fit of childhood rage. Claimed the government found out and took her for testing. Said they did not bother her anymore. Whether or not that is true, I do not know. But her sensitivity felt real. She said the whole area was haunted really badly, even claimed the house across the street had a full-blown infestation. And after she left, the activity in our house stopped just like that. She later called my mom and said 2 of the male spirits followed her home. They realized she could hear them, and that is what gave them power. They started playing games hiding her, stuff knocking things over, but she told us she would get rid of them. And things have been quiet since. The only odd thing that happened recently was when my mom was alone in her room and the spring-loaded door stopper, you know, the kind that kids love to go flick, started vibrating wildly like someone had pulled it and let it go. Not from a bump. It was a full-range movement and deliberate. My mom just said, "I know you are there, honey. It is okay if you want to play a little. You can stay as long as you are not mean." And that was it. If this story gave you chills, drop a like on the video so more people can see it. Subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss a new true scary story. Turn on all notifications. And comment below if you have ever experienced something paranormal in your own home. Have you ever felt watched or seen something you could not explain? Share your story. I read every single comment. Thanks for watching and stay safe out there. See you in the next one.